all things must come to an end. Alright, and welcome back to Phins Football Podcast. This is B Trill, and this is my first ever instant reaction. So, the Miami Dolphins were just defeated by the Houston Texans, and this is my first instant reaction on the season because this may be our last meaningful game of the season. So I figure I'd just jump right out there and dive into a few things. And I don't have any notes. I don't have any stats. I didn't review anything. I do have some game notes. I did jot some things down that I noticed during the game. But yeah, it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking when you put in all the work. You go to the practices. You show up for the games. You pour your heart out onto the field. And the next couple games just don't mean nothing. There's no future for the season. First thing I want to say is I do want to shout out some prayers for Grant Dubois. He went down with a very, very, very scary injury. I've never seen where they had to cut the jersey off as well as the shoulder pads and take off the face masks, and it wasn't a good sight. I think it was, a 15-20 minute delay. He did get pulled off on the stretcher with a lot of things attached to him already. So I am praying for a full recovery. I am praying for no long-term damage. But Tua, you hung him out to dry in the middle of double coverage, in the middle of the field. It is the NFL, but a flag was thrown, but that was just terrible to see, terrible to watch. It sucks because it's a young 23-year-old man. It's his first season in the NFL. He started off with Green Bay. We poached him off of the practice squad. He played a couple games for us, and then he got injured. And he was on the IR, and he just got off the IR. And then this happens. It's just terrible to see. You never want to see heartbreaking injuries like this. You never want to see any injuries. But for a player to go down and to be knocked out and motionless, and it didn't look good. So again, all prayers for him. But I do want to dive into this loss. First things I'll kind of go over is stats. Let's take a look at how bad the numbers are. It's sad because every time it's a must-win game and it's like, oh, we're going against a good team, and we just choke. Against Green Bay, we choked on Thanksgiving, and against Houston, we choke. We lost by 8, but it was a terrible game. Tua, 29 for 40, so there goes that 70% out the window. He didn't hit that in this game. 29 of 40, 196 yards, 6.8 average, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. 3. 1 on the last drive. It was underthrown. That was just a bad pass. Tyreek kind of had him burnt. He had it on a couple steps. You put some more air under it, maybe Tyreek takes it the distance. Maybe we have a chance to tie it. It was underthrown and barely in the grasp of Tyreek and then just ripped away from Singletary. So, or Singletary. Um, Either way, it's a heartbreaking way to lose, especially with 3 interceptions on the game. To what? How many passes did he go? 200 and something, almost 280 or 208. I forget what it was, but he was doing good. No interceptions in a very long time, and 3 interceptions. His QB rating 60. So again, he had what 3-4 games in a row with over 100 passer rating, 60. Let's talk about rushing. Chan, 12 for 41, 3.4 average, 7 was his long. He was just pounding runs. I mean, 41, that's not bad off only 12 carries, because 3.4, that's decent. We're used to more out of Chan, but Mostert, 6 carries, 8 yards, 6 was his long, which means 5 carries went for 2 yards. Jalen Wright, 1 for 3. Malik Washington was our leading wide receiver in yards. He had 52 receiving yards on 5 catches, 6 carries, or 6 targets. Jonnu had the most targets, 11 targets, 9 catches, most catches on the team, 48 yards. A lot were just screens and dumps from behind. He did have the only lone touchdown. Tyreek Hill, 7 targets, only 2 catches, 36 yards, no touchdowns. Chan, 7 targets, 7 catches, 35 yards. All screens and dumps and wheel routes, and we're not pushing the ball down the field anymore. They kind of took that away. The good defenses know how to take that away. The Texans, they have a great defense. Let's see. Mostert, 3 catches, 13 yards. Smythe, 1 for 8. River Craycraft, 1 for 6. Grant Dubois, 1 for -2. So they didn't even count that one as a target. But Sanders, he went 2 for 2 on field goals, but he missed the extra point. If we would have tied it, we would have had to go for 2. Sanders, man, you got to be more consistent. You're banging 50-yard field goals, but you can't hit the extra point. You need to work on that. As far as defense, Anthony Walker had a sack. Chop Robinson, 1.5 sacks. Zach Sealer, 1.5 sacks. Like, those two are just playing out of this world. Chop was almost there every play. Sealer was there almost every play. Like, it was our defense that the secondary wasn't really locking them up. You saw on both those Nico Collins touchdowns, we kind of just let him roam around in the back of the end zone uncovered in the zone coverage. He just sat in the hole and got the ball, and it was a touchdown. And that happened twice. We were on the spread 2.5 points. Well, they definitely covered the spread on that one. It just wasn't a good game. Let's look at Texans numbers. C.J. Stroud, he only had 131 yards passing. That's it. Our passing defense actually did decent, besides Nico Collins in the red zone. He went 18 for 26, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns with a 106 passer rating. That fake punt, 35 yards off of that. Joe Mixon, 12 rushes, 23 yards. Tank Dell, that 1 for 15. C.J. Stroud, 6 for 4. He was sacked 4 times. We had 4 sacks on C.J. Stroud. Held him to 131 yards passing. You would have thought we won. 131 yards passing we held C.J. Stroud to. But he had 2 touchdowns. It was the turnovers. He didn't need the yards. It was a turnover. He was getting the ball in the red zone, what, twice? Oh, man. As far as receiving for them, Mixon had 6 targets, 5 catches, 33 yards. Tank Dell, 2 targets, 2 catches, 26 yards. Mitchie, 4 targets, 2 catches, 17 yards. Nico Collins, 6 targets, 4 catches, 17 yards. 2 touchdowns. We held Nico Collins to 17 yards receiving. But he had 2 touchdowns. It hurts, man. A lot's going to happen. Who knows about the future? Again, we got to continue on these next couple games knowing what the future is going to end up happening. A lot of players are going to be gone. Contracts are going to be over. It's going to be a new team come next year, and we need to revamp that offensive line. I'll be coming up with a video this week talking about the state of the Dolphins, what I think they should do with the future of the Dolphins, whether it's a new regime in the front office or whether it's a gutting of the roster or whether it's a few pieces that we still need. With the rest of this game, I mean, it's just sad because we didn't have our tackles. Teron Armstead didn't play. Kendall Lamb didn't play. Kendall Lamb's already playing for Austin Jackson. So we're down to our third right tackle with Jackson Carman. And then Patrick Paul. And Liam Eichenberg is just trash. Did you not see him get pushed all the way in the back of Tua? Like, Tua just had no chance, like, majority of the game. He had to buy extra time, I would say 50% of the game. He was rolling out, running outside the pocket, stepping up in the pocket. He had to buy extra time. Chris Greer, I don't know what needs to happen. Who else needs to be injured? How many times Tua needs to be injured for you to realize the offensive line matters. Guard play. We need guards. Robert Jones, he got called with he got caught with the holding call late early in the game on crucial plays when we would pick it up. Robert Jones isn't doing good, and Liam Eichenberg, he's had a better season, but he's either getting into fights or he is giving up sacks or getting pushed back into Tua. We got to do something. We have to get a whole new offensive line. Patrick Paul, keep him. Brewer, I like him. Keep him. Jackson, hopefully he's good back from injury. But Eichenberg, I don't know, man. He might be a swing or a backup role. Jones, put him as a backup role again. And Armstead's probably going to retire. His health has killed us. We've had to throw a rookie out there a couple times without really being ready. Even though he has got a lot of practice reps because of Armstead's health, it's just... but yeah, we're not mathematically out of the playoffs, but we're done. We're just kind of waiting for time and the inevitable to happen. As soon as the teams that are in the playoff race don't choke and win a game, then we'll be eliminated. But right now, we just need every team possible to lose, and the perfect scenario to happen for Miami to have a chance, a whisper at the postseason. But as of right now, It's over. It's sad but over. It's crazy how you get ready for the season. The off season seems so long. The draft happens, you start getting excited. Free agency happens before that, you get even more excited. And you're just preparing for the season, and you're like, you know what? This is Miami's year. And I thought that, which is why I started this podcast. I thought, why not start a podcast the year Miami's going to win the Super Bowl? I had high hopes. I mean, if Tua didn't get injured, if we had a third wide receiver, if Phillips didn't get injured, oh man, Phillips and Robinson in the future, that's going to be scary. But with the future, we got to talk about a lot. We got to talk about Holland. Is he going to stay? Is he going to test free agency? Or are we going to sign him down to a big contract? He kind of had a down year. He wasn't playing at the top level that he usually does. He's usually involved in the running game, stopping the run, as well as pass deflections and good coverage. And he kind of just has been taking bad angles on a lot of good plays that end up touchdowns. And there's a lot that Miami has to think about. Number one is, do we keep Chris Grier? Do we get a new GM and start over fresh? Do we get a new head coach? With that, can Tua succeed in a different offense? Or do we bring in an OC that kind of mixes things up? I think that if we got the running game going a little bit more, we could be more involved in the passing game. We were winning and doing good when we're running the ball 40 times. Now we have Tua throwing the ball 40 times. There needs to be more balance. There needs to be more consistency. Yeah, we beat bad teams this year. That's all that really happened. We didn't beat any good teams. I can't look at our schedule and say, yep, we beat a good team. I was thinking about going to New York City for the last game of the season. Tickets are probably going to be free at this point, but the last time I looked, they were $20. Who knows? I might take the drive. I got to clear my head about a lot of things. Make a lot of decisions. One of them is, do I continue this podcast? If you're still listening to this episode, let me know. Give me some words of encouragement if I should keep going or if it's kind of a lost cause. I'm getting maybe 5 views, but taking so much of my time out of my day to put these together and spending a lot of money. New mics, new computers, new software. Probably already $1,000 in the hole, and I haven't earned a dime yet. But I don't know, I'm trying to get this channel to grow, and it's tough. It's hard. It's competitive. I thought it'd be a little bit easier to, share it a couple times and get the word out there, and I would have a following that would share it for me, and we would grow. I know I need to give it time. I'm probably the most impatient person in the world. I just want results overnight, but I'll be patient for the things I love. This is one of them. But I don't know. I'm going to wrap it up. I do hope magic happens, a miracle happens, and we squeak into the playoffs. But tune in later on this week. I'll come out with another video of the status of us. But until next time, keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. Fins up, family.